It was another summer morning on the island of Sodor. Henry the Green Engine had just returned from pulling the flying kipper and was looking forward to a rest in the sheds. Suddenly, he heard a loud whining sound in the distance. It lingered for just a moment, then faded into the distance. "What could that have been?" he wondered. "Probably an airplane," said his driver. Henry looked puzzled. "It didn't sound like any aeroplane I've ever heard," he said. Later that morning, the Fat Controller was giving jobs to his engines. "Henry," he said, "I'll need you to take a goods train to the docks." "Yes, sir," said Henry. As Henry puffed away to fetch his train, he noticed that the Railtour coaches were in the yard. "That's odd," thought Henry. "I don't remember seeing a Railtour train come to the station this morning." Then he heard someone calling from the shed. "Psst! Over here!" it said. Henry looked around and saw an odd-looking engine peering from the shed door. "Hello there," Henry said. "I haven't seen you around here before. What's your name?" The engine shyly looked around. "I've never been given a name," he said. The engineers, just called me GT3. I came here earlier with those coaches for a Railtour." "I see," said Henry. "Well, GT3, my name is Henry. I have to go now. I've a train to pull to the docks." "Wait, don't leave yet," said GT3. "What's the matter?" asked Henry. "You're going to make me late." "I'm sorry, but I need a favour." Henry listened. "Could you get some kerosene for me?" GT3 asked. "I'm almost out, and I need more to get back to the mainland." "What's kerosene?" asked Henry. He had never heard of it before. "Kerosene is kind of like diesel fuel," GT3 explained. "I'd get it myself, but I'm not quite sure where to go." "Don't worry," said Henry. "I'll see if I can find you some." And off Henry went to take his train. Later, Henry had just delivered his train to the docks when Paxton came up. "Hello, Henry," said Paxton. "What are you doing today?" "Oh, Paxton," said Henry, "I was hoping I'd see a diesel today." "Why is that?" "Do you happen to know where I could find something called kerosene?" "Kerosene?" said Paxton. "I actually have some in one of these tank wagons, I think. You can take it." "Thank you," said Henry, "but won't it need to be delivered?" "Don't worry, I can just fetch some more." So Henry was coupled to the tank wagon and set off back to Knapford. "Hello, GT3, said Henry. "I've got that kerosene stuff you were looking for." "What a relief," GT3 said. "Thank you ever so much." Once his tank had been filled with oil, GT3 waited until Henry had left. Then his driver started his engine. It started with a low hum, then turned faster and faster until it made a steady whine. GT3 then began to crawl out of the shed. Then there was trouble. With a splutter and a cough, GT3's engine began to shut down. He was now stuck outside the sheds. "It's the fuel," said his driver. "It's not kerosene at all. It's just regular diesel fuel." "Oh no," said GT3. "I have to take the Railtour train home tomorrow. What shall we do?" "We'll have to get your tank emptied first," said the driver. "I imagine it will be a while before someone comes to help." "But everyone will laugh when they see me," said GT3. "There's nothing for it," the driver said firmly. "You can't move with this fuel in your engine, so you'll just have to stay here." GT3 could do nothing but be content. A while later, Henry came with the works van to repair GT3. He couldn't help but stare at the strange engine. GT3 felt sad. "Are you going to laugh at me and call me strange like all the others?" Henry was shocked. "Why would I do that?" he asked. "Everyone on the mainland did it when I first came out of the foundry," he explained. "I'm an experimental engine, you see, with a gas-powered turbine engine fueled with kerosene. I look more like a steam engine, even though I'm technically a diesel. All the other diesels made fun of me for this and said I looked queer." "Is that really why you stayed in the shed when you asked me to get kerosene for you?" asked Henry. "Yes," said GT3. "I didn't want anyone to see me and call me names." "But we've met all sorts of engines on these rail tours," said Henry. "We've enjoyed having them over. I'm sure the others will want to meet you." "So it'll be all right," GT3 pondered. "They won't call me strange?" "Of course not," said Henry. "I'll tell everyone to say hello." And that's exactly what he did. As GT3 was having the diesel removed from his tank and waited for the kerosene to arrive, the other engines said hello to him and told him all sorts of adventures they've had on the Fat Controller's Railway. The next day, Henry was waiting to see the Railtour train off. He then heard the strange whining sound again as GT3 glided into the station. "So that's where that noise came from," exclaimed Henry. "Yes," said GT3. "Turbine engines do make a loud whining noise." "And I thought it was an aeroplane," said Henry's driver. "Shows what I know." The engines laughed. "Thank you for helping me yesterday," GT3 said. "I hope I will be able to come back one day." "Of course," said Henry. "Any engine is welcome here." Just then the guard blew his whistle, and with a whine from his engine, GT3 set off for home.